Welcome to Wawasan Wire. Today we're talking about Anwar's condemnation of a recent controversial display. So we're looking at an incident that really blew up, didn't it? It started with a public display, something visual at a local event, and boom, it escalates right up to Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the Israeli flag showing up during a pretty high-profile local gathering, and the reaction from the very top, from the Prime Minister, was incredibly strong. And fast.
Yeah, and the setting is crucial. This wasn't just anywhere. It happened during the Kelantan Solidarity with Gaza 500-person voyage plan activity. So displaying that particular flag at that specific event, it was practically guaranteed to ignite something major.
Absolutely. You could see it coming.
And the fact that the reaction bypassed sort of the usual channels and went straight to Parliament really tells you how serious it was taken.
And the language used there in Parliament by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, it wasn't just strong. He made this fundamental declaration. He said quite clearly that hanging the Israeli flag is the same as, well, treason. That's the word he used.
Treason. That word carries such extraordinary weight, doesn't it? Politically, legally. It's huge.
It really is.
It implies, a deliberate betrayal of the country, fundamental disloyalty. He wasn't just saying it was a mistake or bad taste.
No, he framed it as actively undermining national policy, a policy that's, well, pretty long-standing and everyone knows about it.
Exactly. He elevated it beyond just poor judgment. It was positioned as a betrayal of the country's core principles.
And where he said this matters too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You've got to grasp the context. He made this statement during Prime Minister's question time.
Right, in Parliament, on the record.
Precisely. An official statement to the entire legislature. So by responding to a direct question there, his condemnation got the maximum political weight possible. It basically set the official government line.
What I found interesting was his point about the motive. He seemed to brush that aside.
He did. He basically insisted that it didn't matter why they did it, whether it was some, misguided gimmick or a political statement or just carelessness. The act itself, displaying that flag, was fundamentally wrong, full stop. In his eyes, that visual alone was treasonous, given the country's position.
So it's like the intention behind it becomes secondary.
Pretty much. The political leadership effectively shut down any potential defense of, oh, we didn't mean it that way, or it was an accident.
Right.
The message was clear in this highly sensitive political climate, especially around this issue, just showing that symbol crosses a critical line, seen as inherently damaging to national policy and unity.
And then he brought history into it, which really drove the point home.
Ah, yes. The analogy.
He didn't just label it treason. He compared displaying the Israeli flag today to someone raising the Union Jack back during the colonial era.
That's a really powerful comparison to make in Malaysia. By linking those two acts, he connects a current, very charged foreign policy issue directly back to the nation's struggle for independence.
Yeah, the message is pretty stark.
It is. The logic is, if someone flew the colonizer's flag while we were fighting for Merdeka, what would you call them?
A traitor, instantly.
Exactly. So he's saying Malaysia's current foreign policy stance carries that same kind of moral and political weight. It's fundamental to national identity, just like independence was.
And he broadened it out, too, didn't he? He said no country would stand for this.
He framed it as a matter of basic sovereignty, that no self-respecting nation would tolerate such a display, whatever the supposed reason. It became a statement about national boundaries, loyalty on the world stage.
Which leads directly to the call for action.
Yes. That strong rhetoric naturally led to demanding police intervention. And the Prime Minister was very clear about the goal, explicitly. He said authorities must take action so that it will not happen again. The focus was squarely on setting a precedent, making sure this kind of symbolic act, which he termed treasonous, doesn't get repeated.
So you've got this really strong political condemnation treason, but then you look at what actually happens legally.
And that's where it gets interesting, the gap between the political messaging and the legal reality on the ground.
Because the police did act, right?
Oh, yes. The Kelantan police chief, Dato Mod Yusuf, confirmed an investigation started pretty much straight away. Right after the event last Friday, they were already on it.
But the organizers had their own explanation.
They did. And it was, let's say, quite different from the Prime Minister's assessment.
A massive understatement. Yeah, they called it a dramatization, a gimmick.
Exactly that. They claimed it was just part of a reenactment, something about showing what volunteers experienced on the Global Resilient Fleet.
So purely narrative, not political allegiance.
That was their defense. But again, going back to the PM's point, the motive was deemed irrelevant. If the action itself is seen to violate national principles, well, consequences follow.
Okay, so we have the PM using the word treason, extremely serious. But legally, what are the police actually investigating it as? Because treason, the actual crime, is, well, it's the most severe charge there is.
And that's the crucial distinction you need to see. They are not investigating it as capital T treason.
Right.
Actual treason involves trying to overthrow the government or helping its enemies. We're talking potential death penalty, life imprisonment. That's a very high bar legally.
So what's the specific law then?
They're using a much more specific and frankly more practical statute, Section 3, Subsection 1, of the Emblems and Names, Prevention of Improper Use Act, 1949.
Okay. The Emblems Act. That sounds different.
It's very different, legally speaking. So why use the treason label politically but then pursue charges under this act?
Good question. Strategy.
It looks like a strategic move, yeah. Classic political governance, really. The leadership needs to send the absolute strongest signal possible. Calling it treason does that maximum political deterrence, maximum public condemnation.
Gets the message across loud and clear.
Definitely. But actually, prosecuting for treason, that's incredibly complex. You need extremely high proof of intent. It could drag on, and frankly, it might be hard to win in court, especially with the organizers claiming it was just a gimmick.
So the Emblems Act is the workable tool.
It's the practical legal tool. It allows for a more straightforward process. Section 3.1 basically makes it illegal to display any unauthorized national emblem, foreign or domestic, without official approval.
So it's more of an administrative or regulatory offense?
Essentially, yes. The penalties are usually fines, maybe a short jail term in some cases, but it's much quicker, much easier to secure a conviction compared to a full-blown treason trial.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. You get the strong political statement from the top, the feeling of betrayal, the treason rhetoric, but the police use the precise, enforceable legal path to deliver the deterrent that was called for.
Exactly. It's a way to manage the crisis effectively. Define the political severity with the strongest language, then use the most efficient legal tool to enforce the boundary and set that precedent.
So the outcome is achieved. The act is condemned, there are consequences, and a clear line is drawn.
Precisely. It shows a kind of sophisticated approach. Align the powerful rhetoric with a practical legal mechanism to achieve the desired political outcome.
You know, this whole thing really highlights how deeply held views on foreign policy here in Malaysia can just explode onto the local scene, doesn't it?
It really does.
An act dismissed by organizers as a simple gimmick instantly becomes framed as a national security issue at the highest level. It really shows you, the listener, how sensitive these international issues are when they play out publicly on home ground.
It forces you to think about that line between, say, political theater or performance and what gets perceived as a genuine betrayal, especially when you're dealing with powerful symbols tied to core national stances. The cost of a gimmick can be far higher than anyone initially expects in this kind of environment.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.